You only live once. Hi, we are Nyther Silence, and we are in Studio 35 in Hertfordshire right now, and we're here to answer a few questions about ourselves, really, that we've been sent. So, the first question we've got is, who are you both, and tell us a bit about your individual histories. So, starting with myself, my name is Mark Anthony, and I was born and bred in London, North London, and I guess my role in Nyther Silence is vocalist and co-songwriter with Panos. And my history, so I started really wanting to get into music from maybe the late 90s and have been in a few bands over the years and a few projects. And now I'm very, very, very proud to say that I'm here sitting with my musical partner in crime, promoting our third album, YOLO, which in my mind is one of the best things I've ever done. So that is myself.
Hi, I'm Panos B. I'm the second half of the Nyther Silence. I started getting involved with music late 80s. Started writing music, playing music. Also, I was born and raised in Pyrrhus in Greece. That's the first part of the question. After that, continue writing music, different styles, learning playing different instruments. I moved here in UK. I met the Mark. I'm very proud I met Mark, and we have this collaboration on this specific and very nice project called Nyther Silence, where personally I'm very proud, and I want to thank Mark for this effort to write all the lyrics on the and put the vocals on a YOLO album that we will promote right now. My personal view is the most complete album that we have so far, and the most energetic. So if you don't hear it yet, let's hear it.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. How did we both meet and think of the idea of starting a band? So from my point of view, we both kind of our paths crossed via the internet, where we were looking for a project to get going. And yeah, Panos was looking, if I remember rightly, he was sort of looking for vocalists to work with. I was looking for sort of producer to work with. And then we met, if I remember rightly, for the first time in was it a coffee shop in London Bridge?
Not London Bridge. Finsbury Park.
Finsbury Park.
Yeah. Finsbury Park next to the station.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. We met in a coffee shop in Finsbury Park next to the station. I remember because we were sitting outside having a chat. Yeah. And we were speaking to each other about the sort of thing we wanted to do. And if I remember rightly, after our initial chat, it feels like we started in the studio within days. Yeah. And we started in the studio within days and started recording material. And that album became Urban Tales, which was our first album, which has got about 10 or 11 tracks, can't remember. But 10. Yeah, that 10. But that's my memory.
Yeah. More or less the same. I remember that we haven't. First of all, I was looking for a vocalist, a plus songwriter, in order to write lyrics. The transition from Greece here was quite difficult because you don't know people, you don't have the connections, you don't have the networking, and need to you have the need to collaborate with people, because if you are dealing with music, if you are writing music, if you are part of the music, you need to have collaborate to evolve yourself and start growing. So as searching, I found Mark. He responds to my message. We had this 40 minutes conversation in the coffee shop because it was
Yeah,
very noisy and it was quite big.
it was.
Yes, but it was.
What did I think of London Bridge? Did we meet in London Bridge as well around that time? Or
We had a second meeting
all right,
after
that's
that.
it. All right, I knew I wasn't going mad.
Yeah, and after the chat, it was our destiny to meet our paths, to agree what we want to do. And I remember after that, because already I never stopped writing music. I go home. I had already a piece of music as an ensemble, and I sent it to Mark. And he returned after 3 days with the lyric and with the vocals. And I remember that the song was Urban Jackson.
Right, Urban Junction.
Yeah,
I was just going to ask you what was the first song we recorded, but I couldn't remember. Urban Junction, yeah?
Urban Junction.
Right.
I sent you the music and you return the vocals,
Right.
everything ready. So that is our very first song. We collaborate. After that, I think that the life start become more easy because we start to know each other. I know we start know exactly what each one wants to do, and we move forward.
Yes, yeah, very much so. So, whereabouts are we from, and describe our hometowns? So, me personally, I'm from an area in North London called Finsbury Park, born and bred, and describe hometown. So, I grew up in Finsbury Park from the 80s and very much like 80s, 90s. And the area at the time was a very lower working class area. So, I was a council estate kid, very, very, very proud of that. And the area, you know what? So, in terms of materialistic stuff, we didn't have much, but we were happy. We were glad with what we did have, and what we did have, and it sounds cheesy, was a sense of community. So all of the kids around the estate knew each other. All of the mums and dads around the estate knew each other, which we didn't see the benefit of at the time because we called it CCTV with voices. So whatever we were getting up to, if someone was seeing us and they'd tell my mum that we were misbehaving or whatever. But yeah, it was a very lower working class area. And now the area, similar to a lot of places in London, the area has changed. It's very sort of expensive, and obviously gentrification has hit Finsbury Park as well as other areas of London. But yeah, I mean, I like the area. Yeah, it's an area that I'll always sort of be around and stuff. So that is Finsbury Park, and and that's why I support Arsenal. So that's it.
Yeah. So I was born in Pyrrhus, Greece. It's especially in a small suburban of Pyrrhus. Just to describe for all those who doesn't know what is Pyrrhus. Pyrrhus is the biggest port of the Greece. So I remember I was the lucky generation who have the chance to play outside in the streets, to gather all the kids together. At this period, we didn't have any social media, so it was necessary to contact face to face with your friends in order to communicate, to play or whatever. It was nice, very nice year. Our house, our home there, still there. It's a very quiet neighbor, low working class neighbor. I have good memories. I always have in the backside of my mind. Anytime I have the time, I visit the place to to see the place because the people have developed and left from the area. It's a very sad, but the time running and things change. So
Nice, but it's good that you get back there still sometimes.
yeah.
Good. Which artists were we both into whilst growing up? Now, I have to say, and what I'm about to say, I feel everyone says it, but I'll say it anyway. I am the most diverse person in the world when it comes to the music I was into. So, first off, I was into hip hop was probably the first type of music I was into. Bands like Tribe Called Quest, The Roots, Arrested Development, even Beastie Boys, Tribe Called Quest, yeah, that kind of thing, De La Soul and Diggable Planet. So I was very much into hip hop. And then I just got into so much different music from an early age. So literally by sort of mid to late 90s, I really got into Queen, which is really, really different to the music that I've just described before. I was really into kind of love reggae music like Bob Marley, Dennis Brown, Delroy Wilson, Gregory Isaacs, bit of ska, so love the Specials, Madness, and then I fell in love with Motown. I feel like I'm just going through every genre, but yeah, fell in love with Motown, bands like the Temptations, the Supremes, the Full Tops, and even like a lot of Northern Soul, like the Delphonics, the Stylistics. Yeah, and maybe a little bit of cheesy pop to go in there as well. But yeah, I'd say the first music was hip hop and even a bit of and rock. I was into rock bands like Def Leppard. Yeah, so that was me really. How about you?
Uh, my story is a little bit weird because as a growing kid, I started hearing disco. After that, Motown, Pointer Sisters, Diana Ross, etc. Uh, Barry White, like that. But during the time, I start change the sound that I love, and I move in more rock, more electric, and I found shelter in Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, that they call a new wave of British heavy metal. I never start listening and enjoying music from all the genres, but it's the music that gives me inspiration and makes me feel better. So yes, I start from Motown and soul roots, and in order to move in a more electric and more brutal sound and music.
Nice. Best gig I've ever been to, or we've ever been to, but I'll start, I guess. Best gig I've ever been to. I loved seeing the Killers in Wembley Stadium when they were promoting an album called Battleborn. I want to say that was around 2013. Blur, I'm a huge fan of. So I saw Blur at the Olympics closing ceremony in 2012. So that's up there. It's really hard. Yeah, I'm going to say Blur 2012, the Olympics closing ceremony. Reason being is especially on that bill, there were artists that I loved. So I remember the first artists that performed that day were Bombay Bicycle Club, who I think are pretty cool. And then it was New Order, who were really good. And then one of my favorite bands, The Specials, did a set, and then Blur were the headliners. So it was just my perfect day in terms of music. So that was my that was my favorite gig, I would say, that I've been to.
So the gig that I remember and I will remember and it was very nice was when the Big Four, that they call them, they had they visited the Greece in middle of 2000. Was Metallica, Slayer, Anthrax, and Megadeth. Uh, so it was a massive event. Uh, for me, it was something amazing because all this setup, all this thing, all this event was from another planet. Uh, and I remember something happened back then. Uh, During the festival was in the middle of summer. Surprisingly for Greece, the specific evening, the specific night, start raining, and the people start talking next with other people what they will do, etc. The engineers jump on the stage and start pick up the stuff of and then the stage goes the Metallica. That's very important. And they start putting plastic and cover and taking things from the stage. And I remember the James Hetfield says, "If they stay, we will stay." And they continue playing in the rain. It was something amazing. By the way, the rain stops after 10 minutes, but doesn't matter. We are all wet, and the event was extremely amazing. I'm still waiting to see another this kind of event.
Yeah, yeah. Where was that?
The event was called Big Four.
Right.
There was the biggest four thrash metal bands
Yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah,
world.
yeah, yeah.
So we are talking about Metallica,
Yeah,
Slayer,
yeah.
Anthrax, and Megadeth.
Wow, wow.
So it's all of them was in one day, one special evening. Uh, just to remember
Yeah.
it.
Nice. What is your favorite Nyther Silence song and why? My favorite Nyther Silence
Be
song.
careful.
I'm going to be careful. No, my favorite Nyther Silence song is a song called, at the moment, it's Move Forward. I really like Move Forward. So Move Forward is an album track on the latest album, YOLO. And what I remember about the track, actually, before the track even finished, so we were working on the album, and this would have been around the end of 2023, I want to say. Yeah. And we're working on the album, and we kind of completed the album, but then you had another idea that you chucked across, an instrumental idea. You said, actually, I've got another idea I want us to write some music to. So you sent the instrumental over to me, and then I listened to it and wrote to it and recorded some lyrics to it.
That was the last song of the album.
That was the last song. Yeah, that was the last song. And then that track ended up being moved forward. If I remember rightly, I think it took the longest to write because I think it had about 4 verses on it, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
4 quite long verses. So it was the longest to write, but it's my favorite song on the album, and the sentiment of the song I think is really good as well because it's about trying to move forward. I think it's quite a motivational song in a way. So that's my favorite song.
Just to add on this, all the album is full dance music. The specific song, I had an idea and it was out of the album in the beginning. Had the idea to write something like old school rap, and I think that I succeed.
Yes, yes, yes,
so,
yes, yeah, very much so. Yeah, very much so.
So my favorite is the YOLO, the original.
Okay.
And the reason is in the beginning because when I'm producing the music, I'm just listening to the sound. I'm not focusing on the lyrics. I never pay attention to the lyrics.
Yeah.
And until to finish the production, and I sit back, relaxed. Let's hear it now to see how it sounds, etc. And I hear the meaning of the lyrics, guys. YOLO.
Yeah, you only live once.
The point is, all the album is something to give you a motivation to do things. Every song on this album is something different you can think about and move forward on this. Even the YOLO, the move forward. Life is short.
Well, when we were when you first came up of the idea about doing the third album, I remember you specifically saying that you wanted was even before we started recording any songs. You said that you wanted the album to be called YOLO, which is an acronym of You Only Live Once, and that was the theme we worked towards in a way of writing songs to say, right, you know, you only live once. Let's try and make the most of life. In a way. And the songs were written to that theme in mind. Similar in a way to the last album. So the last album was called Recharge. And the reason that was called Recharge was because we were just coming out of the pandemic, weren't we? And the song was about, in a way, how we can, or the album, sorry, in a way, how we can try and move forward from the pandemic.
Because we move out from pandemic and we are all depressed. We are closed in the house. We didn't have a lot of things to do. We lost the friendship. We lost the communication, and it was quite difficult. So another thing, we give, let's say, a motivation to recharge and start over.
Exactly.
And the same thing happened with YOLO. That if you think that we only live once, yes, need to do things more.
Most definitely. And that goes as a good lead into the next question. How do we both go about writing a Nyther Silence song, and what is the process? So,
may I start?
Yes.
So, behind the scenes is I'm writing music and just draft things, and I'm restore it till to having the basic idea. Once I have the basic idea, I'm starting hearing back this kind of music, and I'm start recreating upon on this part. So once I'm finished and I know exactly how many measures I need for the verse, how many measures I need for the chorus, how many measures I need for the bridge, and etc. And I decide for the format of the song. I'm sending all the packets on a mark, and normally I'm not sending. To be honest, I'm not sending him only one track. Normally I'm sending 3, 4, 5, and like the previous album, I send all the music together. But yes, normally from my side is the procedure. Wrote it down, make the calibration, and I'm sending after that to Mark to add his ideas on this.
That's right. So that's exactly it. So Panos would usually send me instrumentals for me to write to and record to, and every now and then over the period of recording the 3 albums, I might have a vocal idea where Panos may build an instrumental around it, but usually it's really Panos who creates the instrumental idea at first, and then will send it over to me. And sometimes it may be 1 track, sometimes it may be 2, 3, 4. However, so for the last album, I remember this, I think would have been around summer 2023. Panos mentioned about wanting to do a 3rd album, and I said, I'm up for it. I'm always up for writing and recording music. And it felt that the conversation at the time was kind of just like a bit of a comment, and it was like, no, we should do one, and kind of that was it. You know, it was a case of, all right, well, we'll have to do one at some point. It didn't seem like a very in-depth conversation at the time. And then I was on holiday in Mallorca around September 2023, and then all of a sudden I remember checking my email, and there was literally a pack. I'm not even joking. There was a package of instrumental tracks, which was basically the album. And I remember thinking, right, I have got work to do now. I need to write and record this. And we then went through the process of writing and recording, mainly obviously the lyrical content and the production mixing and all the rest of it. And I'd say that whole process maybe took about maybe about 3 or 4 months, because I think we sort of finished it. I remember finishing it sort of around New Year of 2024.
February 24.
Was it February 24?
Because
and then the last, but you sent me then the last track.
Yeah, exactly.
Move forward, and I was like, oh, okay, there's an additional one. And then we did that track, and then by that time it was February 2024, and I think we announced it around May 2024. But yeah, that's the process. I think we're quite efficient when we come up with an idea and say, right, let's do this. We kind of do just get on and do it, don't we?
Yeah, the magic in this collaboration is I'm thinking at something, and at the same time you have instant the response on that. So we don't have the first album was quite difficult because we try to collaborate and how we're thinking, and we change. We had a lot of back forth. The third album was very straightforward. That's simple. Is this, and we're done.
Yeah. It was simple, and it's my favorite album, and it just seemed like a very easy process. It seemed like a very easy process.
Even the production was very excellent. Very easy, because I had the vocals, I put it in there and make the mix. And it was very straightforward things.
It's good.
There's no any I didn't make an experiment in order to change something or whatever.
That was really good. And that is the usual process, but we don't always just stick to the same formula all the time, because I think that would be boring. But it's usually around that sort of process. So when did we start? I know we've covered some of it, but when did we start work on the latest album, YOLO? So I think from what Panos was saying, he's already covered some of that. But and again, I can only say it from my perspective, because actually Panos started work on YOLO even before I knew he was starting work on the album. So from my point of view, again, it was around September 2023. I just had all this music sent to me with a view of writing some songs, which I literally did just solidly for weeks and recorded it. And we finished, as I said, initially at the time it felt like we'd finished around January 2024, and then Panos just had one last idea, which actually turned out to be my favorite songs, I said before, and that was Move Forward, and that would have taken us up to February 2023. So that's from my perspective, but you should maybe probably explain how long you were working on stuff for the album before sending it to me back in September 2023, because I can't answer that. That's
the point is, I never stopped writing music, even when we will finish the recharge. Just storage. I make the backup, the files or anything that was from recharge the previous album, and after a month more or less I start put things on the line how I want to be the next album. Basically, I didn't have the name, the idea for the name from the first time, but I remember that the first song I wrote for the YOLO album was the Heads Up. That was I started with this track, and after that I get in the mood and I said, okay, I want to follow this music, this type of music. And finally, when I heard the album, I saw that it was full of energy, full of positive message to give motivation and make people start thinking forward.
Cool. All good. Yeah, no, it's a great album. So, what are we up to aside from Nyther Silence? So the main thing I'm up to is a monthly podcast that I do with a guy called Mark Bedford, and it's called Top Marks Music Podcasts plug on Shoreditch Radio, which is on the first Monday of every month at 8 p.m. And basically, the idea of the podcast is that uh, I will bring 5 tracks to the show. Mark Bedford brings 5 tracks to the show. We don't know what each other's going to play. And when we play the tracks to each other, which is total surprise to the other person, we don't know what tracks are going to be. We have a conversation about the track and why we picked the track and some sort of facts about the track. And then at the end of the show, we try and negotiate and have a joint vote as to what track we are going to vote as top marks for that episode. So that's the main other thing I'm into.
So far, I'm doing nothing. I'm trying to recover from the YOLO.
It's doing a lot. It's doing a lot.
No. But I start dealing in my backside of my brain to how will be the next album.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
So, but so far nothing.
Yeah. See, the thing is, what you need to know is Panos will say that, and you think, okay, all right, is just in a relaxed mood and stuff. And then tomorrow I have an email with about 20 tracks and saying, here you are.
No,
here you are. And I'll be like, oh, great, wicked. All right, come on, let's go. Sure. So if we could choose another artist to collaborate with on an Nyther Silence track, who would it be? I would love to collaborate with Massive Attack. I love Massive Attack, and I think it would be really cool to collaborate with them on a Nyther Silence track. So if you're watching, which you're probably not, but if you're watching, yeah, I'd love to collaborate with you for a Nyther Silence track. How about yourself?
If they hear me there, please. I would like to have a collaboration with Pet Shop Boys.
Oh, Pet Shop Boys.
Okay.
Pet Shop Boys, yes. Yeah. Oh man.
Please, if you're here out there, please.
Neil Tennant, Chris Lowe from Pet Shop Boys, give us a shout.
We are neighbors, close neighbors.
Yeah, we're neighbors, yeah. That would be an awesome collaboration. Yeah, I would love that.
Because if you think at the end of the day, their sound and our sound is it's close enough.
Yeah. So if we wrote a song called East End Boys, do you think that would be copying them or? Okay, maybe we should not.
Yeah.
All right, okay. Well, forget that idea.
We don't have to.
Okay, so any last words from yourself about the album, about the band, about anything?
So the first thing about Nyther Silence is that we move forward. We will be looking to having some books for lives during the summer.
Yes.
Hopefully to have some. We are working hard to to create new content, new music, more, again, with full of energy in order to make the people start getting up. And this is it.
Yeah. And the only words I have at the moment are, please listen to our latest album, YOLO. It's genuinely a great album. And we also have 2 other albums, Recharge and Urban Tales. But yeah, we just try and be positive and make good music and just keep things moving. So yeah, it continues to be a pleasure. And yeah, we must do some shows this summer, which has to happen. So yeah. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed our little chat, and We are on all of the social networks, being Instagram, Facebook, X. You can Google us, you can YouTube us, but it's Nyther Silence. Okay. Take care.
Be well, guys.